What's up, everybody? How's everybody doing out there? This Jose, Oakland Latinos United, tapping in with y'all. How's everybody doing? Hopefully, you guys had a good weekend. Hopefully, you guys are recovering from Monday because Monday sucks. But yeah, kind of rainy day out here in the Bay. What's up, Lucrative Sounds? So I'm just doing my little live with Jay, number 83. What's up, Ed Cepeda, Shortcuts, Chris Grima? What's up, bro? How's everybody doing? Just chilling, about to tap in with you guys, and we're gonna talk a little bit about Mexicans and Latinos and race. It should be an interesting discussion. I'm gonna ask you guys a lot of questions, so I want you guys to really, really be paying attention today. Hopefully, we can have a couple of guests on, but we're gonna talk about what the hell are we? What what race do we fall under? Is there a such thing as a Mexican race? And we're going to talk about all that. We're going to break all that down because what the hell are we? You know what I mean? That's a question we never really think about. You know what I mean? And that's why I want to kind of get in your guys' heads. You know what I mean? Yeah, I got the Ben Davis from Melrose. What's up? What's up, Mike Wild? I got it from the corner actually. But yeah, man. So we're gonna talk about that and just talk, have a little kind of racial discussion. But how's everybody doing out there? And this doesn't even, you don't even have to be Mexican. This could be any Latino uh, from uh, from any Latin country, Spanish speaking country. You know what I mean? It doesn't necessarily mean you have to be Mexican. I'm just saying Mexican because a lot of us are Mexican. I'm half Mexican, but you could be from Guatemala, El Salvador, Nicaragua, Honduras, Colombia, wherever. You know what I mean? And even if you're not Mexican, if you're another race, stick on. You know what I mean? Stay on, and we'll educate you with some game and some knowledge. So everybody press the like Beanie. What's up, Beanie, out there in the 313 Detroit City? You know what I mean? Press the like, donate a super chat. You know what I mean? Donate to the Cash App. You know what I mean? Whatever. You know what I mean? Just let people know about the live. But we'll get into it soon. I just want to get a little bit more people on here, but we got about 12 people. We'll get it started in a couple seconds and have the discussion, but it should be good. And we'll talk about everything else that that we'll talk about a lot of things. What's up, Semboy? Juggalo. I identify as a white man from Toledo, Ohio. But yeah. So now that we got more people on, I guess we'll start the discussion, and hopefully we get some more people on as the discussion goes. So if you're a Latino or a Mexican or Central or South American or Puerto Rican or Cuban or whatever, you know what I mean? What are you? For real, especially if you were born in the United States. What are you? And I'm asking you guys that question. Put it in the comments. What are you? You know what I mean? For real. That's a question I ask you. Put it in the comment. What do you think you are? What do you self-identify as? What do you see yourself, or what do you imagine yourself being this whole time? Put it in the comments. Let me know. You know what I mean? Serious question. So let me know in the comments real quick. What do you self-identify as? What do you see yourself as? Put it in the comments. For reals, nobody's going to put it in the comments. Seriously. I'm unfortunately American with parents born in Mexico. All right, good point. Anybody else? That's basically technically what I am, and we're gonna talk about all that. Anybody else? Put it in the comments, man. We got 9 people on. Throw it in there. Be a little, supportive. I'm asking a question. What do you identify as? And put it in the comments. You know what I mean? Guatemalan. I say I'm from Oakland. I consider myself both Latino and Hispanic. I consider both. Okay. Anybody else? Before I keep on going with the subject, let me know. I'm curious because you're slightly pimpish, mostly doggish. For real, Sequera, what do you consider yourself when you look in the mirror? What do you see? You know what I mean? Or what race do you imagine you are? You're a pronoun. But no, I'm being serious. What race or what ethnic group do you think you are? Chicano, that's a good one. I consider myself other. Chicano. All right, so we got quite a few. And I look at it as Chicano. I look at it as Mexican American. I look at it as American as well. But we're gonna talk about that because that question has been asked. Even when I took Chicano studies in college, a teacher asked me, he's like, "What would you consider your race?" And everyone pretty much equally said Mexican or Chicano or Mexican. You know what I mean? Mixed Northern California. So the teacher said, "Well, yes, your parents or your family originated in Mexico, but Mexico is a nationality from a country. So you have to be born in Mexico to be a Mexican. So what are you racially here in America?" And that I remember a long time ago I heard this discussion and it came up in college as well when I was in college for a little bit. And then people started thinking about it. They started saying different things. Some said indigenous, some said Chicano, some said Spanish, some said mix, some said mulatto because maybe they had some black in them. And you're not really wrong with either, to be really honest with you, because we're a little bit of everything. I mean, some people might say they're strictly indigenous, which is fine. Some people might say they're mestizos, which is Spanish and indigenous, which is fine as well. But some people might disagree with them, be like, "Oh, they're a mestizo." Some might say they're Spaniards, if they could prove that they have a lot of Spanish blood in them, or European blood, or some might even say white because if they have a lot of European blood. Some might say black or mixed mulatto or mixed with all three. Those do exist in Mexico and in many Latin countries. There are black people in Spanish. No matter what anyone says, there's plenty of black people in many Spanish-speaking countries, even Mexico. So there's that blood as well. And there's people that are mixed with other things, with Italian, with Arabic, with North African. So we are a mixture of a lot of things, and it's hard to really say what. Now, I notice it whether your family's from Guatemala, Mexico, El Salvador, Colombia, a lot of countries, Puerto Rico, Cuba. If you ever notice, well, Cuba's not necessarily a country, but let's just Puerto Rico. I mean, let's throw it in there anyway. So basically, if you're what's up, Hogside? So basically, if you ever notice, people from those countries don't really trip off race. If you notice, we're mostly race obsessed in the United States for the most part. And that's a very Anglo thing, you know what I mean? That's a very Anglo thing. And that goes back to the British and the English. Now, I'm not going to say the Spaniards were any better as colonizers, but what I was going to say is why do you think that there's not a racial category in most Latin countries, including Mexico? Like in Mexico, you could be white as hell, you could be black as hell, you could be brown as hell. If you're born in Mexico, you're Mexicano, and people identify as such. And usually they might identify as Mexicano first, and maybe Indigena or Espanol or whatever, or Mestizo as second. And that's basically what most Latin countries are like. And I would say that's the big difference between Mexico and the United States, the way we view race. In Mexico, we view race, or at least in most Spanish countries, Spanish-speaking countries, we view race as more as colorism. Es un moreno, es un negro, es un indio. You know how it is. But we don't look at it as like he's white, so he's a white Mexican. He's black, so he's a black Mexican. You know what I mean? It's not like that out there. You know, if you're from Mexico, you're Mexicano. If you're from Colombia, you're Colombiano. If you're from El Salvador, you're Salvadoreño. And if you're Dominicano, you're Dominicano. You know what I mean? Whatever, you know, name your country. And how did this happen? Why did the consciousness of race go away in some ways in Mexico and became colorism? And I don't think we talk about that as much. You know what I mean? But a lot of it has to do when the countries freed themselves from Spain, and a lot of those countries had a very hard time planting themselves solidly. Like Mexico, after the independence from Spain, it was in war for almost like 80 years until the Mexican Revolution ended that. In many other countries like El Salvador, there was a lot of, in Central American countries, there was a lot of invasions, wars. The British were out there. The Spaniards were out. Well, not the Spaniards; they were gone by then. But the British, a lot of people don't know the British were in Central America. You know, in Colombia, it was the same thing. There was years of wars. You know, in Dominican Republic, they had years of struggle between Haiti and the Dominican Republic. They had invasions by the U.S. They had they had a dictator for a long time, and you had that basically was what Latin America was like. Now, in the case of Mexico, let's talk about Mexico, why the racial categories there ended. Because Mexico had been in a constant state of war since the independence of Mexico. You know what I mean? Which was in the 1820s. And from the 1820s to about the 1920s, 100 years, Mexico was in constant state of revolutions, of civil wars, of invasions by the French, invasions by the U.S., and so many problems that happened within Mexico. Mexico was a mess. Mexico was very divided. Um, you know, the Spaniards had created the casta. That was probably the only time in Mexico's history that you could say there was an actual segregation. What's up, Fabi? There was an actual segregation was during the castas, during the Spanish time when the Spaniards were in Mexico, because the Spaniards are the ones that created the words like mestizo and mulatto and pardo and sambo and all these words, and those categories were were based on race. So if you were a criollo, that meant you were a Spaniard born in Mexico of full Spanish descent or European. If you were an Espanol, you were at the top. Basically, you were a Spanish immigrant colonizer. If you were a mestizo, you were kind of below the criollo. You were a mixed Spanish with indigena. And if you were a mulatto, I mean you were black and you were and Spanish, you know, you were kind of below the mestizo. And if you were what they call a pardo or a sambo, which meant you were all three, black, Spanish, and indigenous, you were kind of below that. And the bottom of the barrel was basically being full-blooded indigenous or African. And that's how the category was under the Spaniards. Now, when Mexico freed itself from the Spaniards, when the independence came, the people that freed Mexico, you know, the Miguel Hidalgo and Vicente Guerrero and Jose Maria Morelos and all those guys, and all that whole group of people, they felt that racial categories should be abolished in many ways. So they got rid of that caste system like the Spaniards had. And you know, they tried to focus on just being Mexicanos. And it took a long time for that to happen because Mexico was really divided. You know what I mean? But in time, Mexicans began seeing themselves as Mexican, not as a race, but as Mexicanos born in Mexico. Now, during the Mexican Revolution, which happened 100 years after the, you know, basically 90 years. It started 90 years after the Independence War, and you got to remember the Spaniards, not the Spaniards, the French had invaded. You know, the Maximilian Habsburg, he was what, Austrian for the French. They invaded. The French basically invaded. The U.S. invaded the Mexican American War that they lost Mexico, and they lost. I mean, they lost California, Nuevo Mexico, Texas, Arizona. We already know that story. So there was a lot of problems in Mexico, invasions, wars, civil wars. There was a war between the liberals and the conservatives as well. A lot of things. And when the Mexican Revolution happened, and that was to overthrow Porfirio Diaz. If you guys know who he was the dictator of Mexico from Oaxaca. Um, After the Mexican Revolution, 1920, after they got rid of Emiliano Zapata and got rid of Pancho Villa, which actually Pancho Villa's death is coming up on the 100-year anniversary this July. But after they got rid of the revolutionaries, they created the Constitutionalist Revolutionary Movement, which was made up of Álvaro Obregón, Venustiano Carranza, Adolfo de la Huerta, and various others. And they're the ones that kind of created the three, the Partido Revolucionario Institucional, I forget what they're called. But it was through them and Lázaro Cárdenas and various others, and also through the writings of Jose Vasconcelos. Whether you like him or not, that's redundant. A lot of people don't like Jose Vasconcelos, but he is one of the reasons why his philosophies are one of the reasons why Mexicans stopped viewing themselves as a racial category, more as a nationalistic category, because there was like a nationalistic movement at the time. They wanted to nationalize everything, including the oil, the railroads, all the industry, nationalize it for Mexico. They 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 pushed you know the basically the Aztecs. We come from the Aztecs. We come from the indigenous people, and they pushed a lot of things. You know what I mean? And they also pushed that we're Mexicans, somos mexicanos, de la sangre indígena de los aztecas, or somos mestizos. That was also pushed as well. Now, Jose Vasconcelos wrote the book La Raza Cósmica, and his theory was that he was he said that basically Mexicanos, or the people from Latin America, we are a cosmic race because we're all the races in one. We're Spanish, we're indigenous, and we're African, or we're indigenous and we're Spanish or European and indigenous. And he said that we were a cosmic race, that we were a force to be reckoned with, and that we were the future of the Americas, or the future of Latin America, which is true in many ways. But uh he said that, but then he said a lot of other things, which is the reason why a lot of people don't like him. Like he said that the Aztec and African way of life was inferior, and that the indigenous people have to evolve and be something better than what they were in the past. And he had a lot of crazy ideas, but that's where the whole concept of La Raza came from. And the Chicano movement, believe it or not, pushed that movement a lot in the 60s. That's where La Raza and all that come from Jose Vasconcelos, who himself was from Oaxaca. A lot of people don't know that. A lot of influential people in Mexico came out of Oaxaca, believe it or not. And basically through this nationalist movement, the whole idea of race kind of went out the window in Mexico, and it became a thing of if you're from Mexico, it doesn't matter if your parents are from Lebanon. It doesn't matter if your parents are from Spain, Italy. It doesn't matter if your ancestors were African. It doesn't matter if your ancestors were Aztec. If you're from Mexico, you're Mexicano. That's kind of was the way it was looked at. You know what I mean? And that is the reason why we as Mexicans and Latinos, or raza, Chicanos, whatever you want to call us, we don't see the concept of race that much. That's why we usually say we're Mexicanos, we're Chicanos, you know what I mean? Only now are we starting to hear more of the concept of race because we're in the United States. And the question gets brought up, what are you? And a lot of times Mexicanos don't know how to answer that. And this doesn't just mean Mexicanos. Again, these similar movements happen throughout Latin America, which is the reason why you find this all throughout Latin America. You know what I mean? These concepts of we're this, regardless of our color. You know what I mean? If you notice, like in Cuba or Dominican Republic, You could be blacker than black, and if you're from there, you're Cubano or you're Dominicano. Colombia. You could be black, you could be indígena, you could be mixed, you could be white. If you're from there, you're Colombiano. So that kind of like that's all over across the board when it comes to Latin America, which is the reason why we normally when we have roots from there, we look at ourselves as the country and not as what race we are. Does that make sense? I don't know if you guys ever thought of it that way. You know what I mean? And that is the reason why we don't see that now in America. We're race obsessed, and a lot of that has to do with the Anglos, and with the Anglos meaning the British, because they were the ones that invaded this part of the world. You feel me? Uh, and and Basically, the white way, the Anglo way of life was like you have to be Anglo to be on the top. Period. And if you're not Anglo to be on the top, you ain't one of us. You ain't in the club. And the Anglos were so messed up that they didn't even accept Irish, Italians, Germans. They didn't accept anybody that wasn't Anglo into their club. That's where the white Anglo-Saxon Protestant thing comes from, WASP. You know what I mean? So the the Anglo way of thinking is the way we look at it here in the U.S., which is the reason why we're race obsessed here, and that's the reality of it. The difference between the Anglo and the Latin American or whatever you want to call it point of view is different when it comes to race. That's why we don't see ourselves as a race a lot of times. We see ourselves as Chicanos or Mexicanos or Salvadoreños or Dominicanos or Nicaraguenses or Guatemaltecos, even if we weren't born there. You know what I mean? Like I wasn't born there, you know. But somebody asked what part of El Salvador. Well, my family from El Salvador, I'm half a Mexican and Salvadoran. I'm both, so I could speak on both. Uh, my family's from a place called Cabañas in El Salvador, which is close to Honduras. My mom is from Michoacan, but grew up in Tijuana. But anyway, so yeah, so a lot of times when we're here in the U.S., us, the offspring of the Mexicanos or the people from Latin America, you feel me? Uh, you know, we're confused at what we are sometimes. We don't know what are. Are we Mexican American? Are we Guatemalan American? Are we Salvadoran American? Are we Colombian American? Are we Peruvian American? And so forth. Are we Chicanos? Are we Indigenas? And we never say, well, I'm this race. I'm indigenous. I'm mixed. I'm mestizo. I'm Spaniard. We never look at it that way. You know what I mean? And the question I ask is, what are we? And what can we identify as? And I'm gonna tell you what the way I personally look at all this that I've broken down right now. Now, me personally, I look in the mirror, you know, at the end of the day, and a lot of people are not gonna like what I'm about to say, but at the end of the day, I was born in the United States, so I'm an American. That's what I am. You know what I mean? I mean, nationality wise, that's what I am. You know, I'm an American. That's not my race, but I was born in the United States. So therefore I am an American. Now, society is unfortunately not going to look at it that way or look at me that way. You know what I mean? And I'm going to break that down. So I am an American. That's what I am. An American citizen born and raised in the United States, in California, in Oakland, California. You know? But my parents come from Mexico and El Salvador. So I have that in me. And, I don't look like a typical what people would think of an American, even though people that look like me have been in the so-called Americas since before any European was here. That's the reality. You know what I mean? And, but I don't get looked on as a typical American. What's up, Tone Loke? What's up, Sebastian? So that's what I am. I am from the United States. I'm an American citizen, or yo soy de los un estadounidense, you know, of parents who were born in Latin America, Mexico, and El Salvador specifically. Now, society doesn't look at me like an American. Society looks at me as a foreigner, unfortunately. It doesn't matter if they're white, it doesn't matter if they're black, it doesn't matter if they're Asian, it doesn't matter if even other raza. When they see me, they don't see an Americano. They see a Mexicano or a Latino. You know what I mean? That's what they see. They don't see an American. Unless they start talking to me. Then maybe they'll be like, oh, okay, yeah, he's from here. It's un pocho. He's a Chicano. But I am, I'm from the United States, you know? But what do I self-identify? You know, I've never taken a DNA test, so I don't know what I precisely am. I only go through what my brothers and sisters have told me from their DNA tests. So apparently there is European blood there and there's indigenous blood. And there might even be a little bit of African blood too, which is not surprising to me. But, I self-identify as a Chicano, as a descendant of Mexicans and even South, because I'm part Salvadorian too. You know what I mean? I'm a people of the sun, hijos del maíz. And but yes, I see myself as an American too because I'm from this country. And I got to be aware of what's going on in my own country, which is the United States. Now I love Mexico, I love El Salvador, I love Latin America. Don't get me wrong, I love going out there. I love my roots from out there. I love my indigenous ancestry. And if I have Spanish ancestry, I mean, I can't hate on it. It is what it is, you know. And if I have black blood in me, well, hey, that's dope too. But I'm not ashamed of who I am. That's what I am. And like I said, when the world sees me, they see a Mexican. If I go up to black dude in Oakland, I tell him, hey, bro, what do I look like to you? He'll say, oh, you look Mexican. If I go up to some white boy in San Francisco or Berkeley, and I tell him, hey, bro, what do I look like to you? Oh, dude, you look totally Mexican. Some Asian probably say the same thing. Oh, yeah, you look Mexican. So, but, that's what it is. And even shortcuts. He's Guatemalan, but I guarantee you, everywhere he goes, people look at a Mexican. You know what I mean? But that's just how it is. Society in the United States sees us as Mexican. They don't see us as indigenous. They don't see us as Españoles. They don't see us as black. You know what I mean? Even though we have all of those in us. I mean, that's the reality, Check your DNA. You'd be surprised what you find, But we don't think that way because in Mexico and in a lot of Spanish countries, Spanish-speaking countries, Latin American countries, the concept of race is not as big as it is here. Yes, there are black people in Latin countries. There are Asians in Latin countries. There are Middle Eastern people in Latin countries. There's Italians, there's Spaniards, there's Russians, there's Ukrainians. There's, a lot of different races in a lot of Spanish-speaking countries. It's not just mestizos or Spaniards. It's pretty mixed up when you think about it. But at the end of the day, and the indigenous native people of Latin America. But the thing about, I'm going to tell you why I don't identify as a strict indígena or as a European or as a black. Because if I say I'm a straight up indígena, a straight full-blooded Yaqui Indian, like La Bamba, the native people are going to look at me and be like, you ain't one of us. That's just the reality of it. And in a way, they're telling the truth because I didn't grow up in an indigenous style fashion. I probably grew up around indigenous influence, obviously because of our culture, but I didn't grow up speaking an indigenous language, practicing indigenous ways. So I can't say I'm indigenous because the indigenous people ain't gonna 100% accept me, and I've already faced that. Trust me, I've already faced it. So I'm speaking from experience. I'm not talking out of my butthole. Now I can't say I'm African either because blacks in Latin America and here or in Africa are gonna look at me like, boy, you ain't black. You know what I mean? So I can't identify as that. I can't identify as Spaniard either because let's face it, if I go to Madrid or Barcelona, they're gonna look at me. I'm like, boy, vos sos mexicano. Vos qué queréis con nosotros los españoles? Tú eres de Mexico. You know what I mean? They're not gonna accept me. So I'm not gonna be accepted by either or. So I am a Chicano, you know, born in the United States of Mexican and Salvadorian parents. That's what I am. You know what I mean? And I have all these other bloodlines in me as well, which is cool. I'm not going to say it's bad. And most of you out there have it as well. Some of you are more indigenous. Some of you are more mixed. Some of you are more black. You know what I mean? Some of you are mixed with all three. Some of you have Middle Eastern or Asian blood in it. You know what I mean? But it is what it is. Do you think crazy that if you're Mexican, you can't speak a lick of Spanish? Do you think it's crazy that if you are Mexican? It depends. I mean, yo hablo español, so para mí no es un problema. You know what I mean? Pero hay muchos que nacen aquí que no saben hablar español porque ya son de aquí. And, I've made a discussion about this on the live in the past, that there's already a third generation of my family born here. I'm the first generation. There's already a second and third generation in my family that's losing Spanish. They're becoming no sabos. but there's already that happening within my own family. There's already a second and third generation. I'm already a great uncle. So there's already a third generation that doesn't speak much Spanish. You know what I mean? But at the end of the day, yes, I was born in Oakland. I'm a Chicano from California. I'm a Chicano from the Bay. You know what I mean? And I have the Spanish in me. I most likely have the European in me. Maybe I have black in me too. Who knows? Maybe I have Middle Eastern from the Moors or from some of the Middle Eastern people in Mexico and El Salvador. Who knows? I don't know. But yeah, man, that's Hot Boy Weeze. He's on here. I remember Hot Boy Weeze. Wasn't he from Hayward? But anyway, that's basically my way of looking at it. I know a lot of people ain't gonna like what I have to say. They're gonna be like, "Oh, Jose, you're a sellout. You're not identifying as full indigenous, or you're not identifying as this or that." And like I said, I never said I'm not. I do have indigenous blood. I mean, look at me. You could see the features. They're there. I don't even really, to be honest with you, I didn't really have facial hair. I don't get facial hair on this side of my body. You know what I mean? But I have the indigenous features. I have probably European features. I look like an Olmec head if you really look at my head and my nose. Maybe I have African in me too. Who knows? Maybe that's why I like the drums and all that and like playing Afro Latino music, as we call it. West Side Berkeley in the house. I know West Side Berkeley, Strawberry Creek Park and 6th Street, 9th Street. You feel me? Bonar Street, Francisco Street. I know the West Side. But yeah, man, I'm a children of Oakland, California, from the Bay Area. And yeah, man, I just wanted to kind of, no, there's no way I could be Zulu. If I was African in any way, I'd be from West Africa. So I'd be from Nigeria. I'd be from Cameroon, Congo, Guinea-Bissau, or one of those countries. Zulus or South Africa. There's no way in hell I could have been South African. Just giving you a little education check there. But so I'd probably be Yoruba or Mandinga or Fulani or one of those tribes. You know what I mean? But yeah, man, you have native in you too. Yeah, I never said I don't. That's what I'm saying. I'm not saying I don't have. I'm not saying I don't have. I know I have native blood. I mean, Mexico is a native country. You know what I mean? I probably have Spanish or European blood too. I'm not denying any of it. I probably have it all. I may have African blood too. Who knows? There were Africans in Mexico too. That's another. We talked about that on here before. But what I'm saying is the concept of race when it comes to Mexico and Latin America. You know what I mean? It is different the way we look at things out there, or at least the people from out there look at it. You feel me? Um, and it is different than the Anglo way of looking at it. When I mean Anglo, I'm talking about the British way of looking at it, because we live under a system that was created by the British. In Mexico and Latin America, they live under a system that was created by the Spaniards. It is what it is, colonization. And there was differences for sure. You know what I mean? The British were messed up. The Spaniards were messed up, but the British were really messed up. You ever read about the way they colonized? They were pretty brutal. The British Empire, you know, um, they didn't accept anybody. The Spaniards, yeah, they were killing people too and doing messed up things. With the Spaniards, they mixed with the population. The British, they did not want to mix or anything. They just wanted to slaughter the population. That's just how it is, bro. Now, in Mexico and in a lot of Latin countries, there is classism, and I've seen that on there. There's colorism and there's classism, which there's in Mexico, race isn't really an issue. Like, yeah, that's my point. So in Mexico, there's a lot of classism and classism and colorism. And classism means that you could be from any class, and it doesn't matter what color you are. If you're not from that class, you're screwed. But in Mexico, just like in the United States, the people who tend to be in the upper classes are usually European descendants. Usually, not all, but most. Um, a lot of the people that are rich in almost all Latin countries are usually people from that are descendants of Spaniards. They're descendants of Jewish people. They're descendants of other Europeans. Russians, uh, uh, Italians, Irish. A lot of different people that went to Latin America that had money and were able to establish lands and stuff like that. Those were the one, those are the ones that are at the top usually. And you also have a lot of mestizos, and you have some indigenous people and some Africans that are at the top too. But for the most part, just like here, when you tend to see rich people in Latin America, they tend to be more white for sure. Even in Mexico, there's also a lot of the Middle Eastern people in Mexico and in Latin America tend to be on top too. They tend to have a lot of money. Look at Carlos Slim. Who knows? Who knows? Press one if you ever heard of Carlos Slim. Press one in the comments. Has anybody ever heard of Carlos Slim? Richest man in Mexico. One of the richest men in the world. Now look at Carlos Slim. He is Lebanese. He's an Arab. He's a descendant of Lebanese Christians, and one of the richest men in the world. You know what I mean? So Carlos Slim is Middle Eastern, but we don't look at him as Middle Eastern. Why? Because he was born in Mexico, and when you're born in Mexico, you look at yourself as Mexicano first and Lebanese second. That's why we don't look at Carlos Slim as an Arab, which he technically is an Arab, because both of his parents were from Lebanon. Um, and Salma Hayek too. She's rich. She's married to a rich guy, and she's Lebanese descent. She's a Lebanese descent as well, but we don't look at her that way. She's Arabic too. She might be mixed with some Spanish or indigenous, but she's partly Lebanese. We don't look at her as Lebanese because she was born in Mexico. Capulina was also Lebanese. I don't know if you remember Capulina. He was an old actor from Mexico. He was Lebanese too. So Shakira's Lebanese. Another one, even though that's not Mexico, she's from Colombia, but Shakira's Lebanese. You know what I mean? Nayib Bukele, the president of El Salvador, is Palestinian. How many of you guys knew that one? Nayib Bukele. I mean, Nayib is a Arabic name. Bukele, I'm sure, is an Arabic last name. Nayib Bukele is a descendant of Palestinians, and El Salvador has a large Palestinian community. So but most people don't look at him as an Arab, even though he looks damn dead on like an Arab. But they look at him as Salvadorian because he was born in El Salvador. Because that racial thing, I'm not gonna say it don't exist in Mexico, but or in Latin America, but it's not the same way here. That's what it is. If you Asian in America, you Asian. If you Nigerian, if you up in America, you black. That's how the U.S. Yeah, exactly, northbound. But you see, it's not like that in Mexico or in Latin countries. It's weird. It's just different. It just is. People can argue with me and say, "Oh, you're wrong, Jose. Blah blah, racist in Mexico." Yeah, they probably are because of colorism, and that's our next point. Because the concept of race, I don't want to say it was erased, but under the nationalist movements of the past, people stopped viewing themselves as black or white or whatever. You know what I mean? And they viewed themselves more on the skin tone. And obviously, if you're indígena, it is más indio. If you're black, it is negro. If you're dark skinned, you're moreno. You know what I mean? And that's kind of where it became more. That's probably the only version of race you're gonna see in a Latin country. You know what I mean? But it's not like, oh, he's black or he's white. It's really not like they might say it's güero or it's mono or it's chile. You know what I mean? But they're not gonna say he's a white boy. They're just not gonna look at it that way. You know. Um, and I'm just that's just what I'm saying. This is why we're so confused of what we are. Hopefully, this was a good breakdown of that, of why we don't view ourselves as a race. You feel me? But does Mexico like Chicanos? I mean, I was in Mexico, bro. No one treated me bad, but then maybe because I was a tourist, who knows? But I mean, yeah, there is a disconnect between Chicanos and Mexicanos for sure. Wherever you are in Mexico, they'll just give you a nickname. Yeah, exactly. And that's the colorism I'm talking about. You know, but the thing with me, even though I'm a Chicano, I'm a Pocho, I always got along with people from Mexico and from Latin America. I have a lot of friends who are from the other side, and I never got that bad vibe from them. You know what I mean? Yeah, there's been some assholes that came at me wrong, but I've always gotten along with paisas, with Mexicanos, or with people from Colombia, El Salvador, or Guatemala, or Peru, or Cuba, or I've had friends from all over Latin America, bro. So Chile or Canche, I don't know. I mean, El Salvador they say Chile, but in Colombia I heard them call them monos. In Mexico, güero. I've heard people, I think Argentinians call them rubios. So there's different terminology. You feel me? Is it racist? What the class of the colorism? It depends how you look at it. If you look at it through an American lens, yes. If you look at it through a Mexican or Latin lens, no. You know what I mean? And that too. I get along with people from with Native Americans too. I have a lot of Native American friends, so I know a lot of people from all walks of life. Man, I'm not one of those people who divide myself between this and that. You know, it is what it is. But I'm just breaking down our people's struggle and why is it hard for us to identify? Why is it if someone asks us what race are you, you can't say it. You're like stuck. Like, well, I'm just Mexican, or I'm just Salvadorian, or I'm just Guatemalan because I'm short, or, or I'm just Nicaraguan, or I'm just Cuban, or I'm just Colombian, or Peruvian, or Argentinian. You know, because that, like I said, that concept of race, I don't want to say it's non-existent in Mexico and in Spanish-speaking countries, but definitely it's different the way it's viewed, and that's all I'm trying to say. You know what I mean? That's just what it is, and I think the problem with a lot of white and black people in the United States, and even some Chicanos that never been to Mexico or a Latin country, I think they try to look at it in an American lens. And if you look at it through an American lens, it is not going to make sense to you. That's just the reality. It's not. because in the United States we view as everything as black and white. Let's keep it real. In the United States, that's how we view everything when it comes to race, as black and white. There's no in between. And in Mexico and in Latin countries, they don't view things as black and white. Matter of fact, they seldomly do view anything as black and white. Now there is obviously there is colorism that is border that is racist out there, like in the novelas and in the magazines or in the newspapers or ads out there. They use white looking Mexicans or white looking Latinos to be on news or on the novela. That is true, and that's part of classism and colorism, and that is racism for sure. And usually when they show an indigenous looking person or a black looking person, they're usually like in some demeaning role. And that does exist. I'm not going to say it doesn't. It does in Mexico and in a lot of Latin countries, and that's just, that's not good. That's bad, because definitely that is part of the caste system that's still around, and the racism from the Spaniards and Criollos from the past. So, still a lot of work to be done. It's not perfect, but that's just how it is. Criollos get discriminated against. Cirilo, oh yeah, Cirilo, transform more than meet the eye. Carlos Vallarta, no, I haven't. Se oye familiar, pero no sé quién es. But yeah, man. So yeah, that's. I've been speaking about this for like 47 minutes already. So I'm just gonna end it like this. Me personally, I'm a Chicano from the Bay, from Oakland. You know what I mean? From Northern California. And my mom is from Mexico. My dad is from El Salvador. I have roots from the Indigenas. I have roots from the Europeans, and I have roots probably from the Africans too. And it is what it is. And that's what I am. I'm not black or white, as in the American sense. Do you get that? Does that make sense? And that's just what I'm going to leave it as. You know what I mean? And I'm not ashamed to call myself whatever I am. I'm a Chicano. I'm a Mexican American. And if you were to ask me what my race, I'm La Raza Cosmica, motherfucker. I'm everything. So that's what I am. So, you feel me? That's it. So leave it in the comments. What do you think about this discussion? What do you identify as? What has this educated you on? What do you think about this discussion? Have you ever thought of these things? And so forth. Leave it in the comments. Let me know what you thought. You know what I mean? I like to make you guys think. I like to make you guys think outside the box. I like to make you guys, learn about your cultura, your history, whether it's here in California or in the U.S. or whether it's in Mexico or wherever it may be. You feel me? But let me know in the comment what you think, man. I'm a white man from Toledo, Ohio, so that's what I am. That's why the human race is fucked because of the Anglos and the Spaniards, but the Anglos for sure. But yeah, man. So leave it in the comments. Let me know what you think. What do you self-identify as? Are you a beaner? Are you a Chicano? Are you a Mexicano? Are you Guatemalan? Are you both? Are you short? Are you tall? Are you black? Are you white? Are you mixed? Are you mestizo? Are you La Raza Cosmica? Which one are you? You feel me? Let me know. Leave it in the comments, guys. I've been talking for a long time. I want you guys to give me some input. Come on, man. For real, we got 14 people. No one want to say nothing. If you're Anglo-Psych, thank you for credit and debit. God bless you all. God bless the Queen. I'm a Punjabi, however, raised in New York City. That's why I studied like Harvey Nessie. I'm a Mexican American who likes tacos, who's Who's get concha eats tortillas all day. I'm a pony. Nobody else. We got so many people on here. Come on, a lot of people, different definition of Chicano, but always got you're Chicano if you're Mexican descent, born here. Yeah, to me, Chicano is basically you're born here of Mexican parents. That's there's so many people that want to hijack the word and don't even know what it really means. You know what I mean? But it is each to their own. Again, that's more screwing up with our identities. And then there's people that say they're only indigenous and you can't be anything else. You got them folks as well, which I don't mind those folks. It's cool. If you want to identify with only indigenous, hey, I'm not no one to tell you not to. You identify as you want to. I'm Oakland. My parents are from Mexico. But yeah, man, but it's like, I told you why I don't self-identify as only indigenous. Unless I find out that I'm only indigenous, then my views will change. You know what I mean? But you know, but other than that, I don't self-identify as one at the moment. But yeah, man. So what's going on with the chat? Let me know what's going on. Let's talk. Let's talk and make this live. Make this chat live. You feel me? Let me know what your thoughts on all this. If you guys know about any of this stuff, have you ever thought of any of this stuff? Let me know. You know what I mean? Let's make it interesting. You feel me? Because that's what you guys are on here for. Talk. Let's talk, man. Oakland is its own country. My family goes back to a Mexican town. I forgot the name. My cousin remembers the name. On a serious note, I'm Mexican, born, certified, being and raised in extravagant Bay Area. Oh yeah, you were born, so you are technically Mexicano because you were born in Mexico. I'm from the state of 39th Ave, from the country of Oakland. I'm from the country. I'm from the city of Oakland, the country of the Bay Area, because I lived all over the Bay Area. You know, but yeah, man, it is what it is. Some people, you know, that's some people just don't realize, turns his life over to ice. But yeah, it is what it is. I'm an Oaklander Chicano, Raza business. Same here, bro. Same here. I feel disconnected from my roots. Why do you say that? I've been growing like a pocho since I moved here when I was one. Yeah, I mean you're pretty much like me. You're a Chicano, basically, damn near. Pretty much, you know. And like that's funny because like what I said, like when they look at me, they don't see an American or whatever. They see a Mexicano, a Mexican. you know. We gotta head to Mex. Yeah, I want to go to Mexico myself. I want to go to Colombia too, and El Salvador. Especially now that Nayib Bukele cleaned up the country. Shit, about time somebody did it. Fuck. I'm gonna make a video about that too soon. You know. But yeah, man. Yeah, but it's like the problem. I think the misunderstanding a lot of people have is when they look at Latinos and they look at Mexico, they look at it through an American lens. And when you look at it through an American lens, let me repeat myself, it's not going to make sense. It's just not because it's two completely different ways of looking at things. Not saying it's right, not saying it's wrong. It just is what it is. You feel me? And that's it. So what's going on, man? Because these topics should be like religion in every home since a young age. We grew up with times making ends meet. Yeah, I mean, like I said again, we don't. A lot of our families, they didn't know a lot of history. They didn't know really much about their own roots. They come to this country and they only work and do what they have to do. They don't care about the history of Mexico or about this or that. Like my family, yeah, I would ask them questions about my relatives, and they would tell me certain things. and but I had to learn a lot of stuff about my culture within myself, searching, reading, looking things up. And that's how I learned about, Mexico. I learned about other Latin countries. I learned about El Salvador. I learned about a lot of places, talking to people, being curious, that's how I got more connected to Latin America. That's why I call myself Oakland Latinos United, because I know a lot of people from a lot of places, man, and I kind of understand each point of view, you know. Estoy perdido. Neighborhood watch. Who's that? Every time I would talk about Dad's indigenous roots, he would get weird about it and dodge the question. My family wasn't that bad on it. You know what I mean? My family, like my dad would tell me that he believed his mom was of indigenous roots. What's up, Timo? You missed a good live, man. My mom too. My mom would tell me that her dad was more light skinned and that her mom was more indigenous looking. Even though I never got to meet my grandma. She passed away before I was born. Both of them did. But I've seen pictures, But yeah, man. So hey, Timo, we were talking about the way race is viewed in Mexico and Latin America. That was the topic for tonight. But yeah, there was never like oh, we're not indigenous. We don't have that blood in us. Nah, maybe there wasn't like a push of it, but I don't remember any of my family like talking in a shameful way about Native people. They might call someone an Indio or something like that, which is very common, unfortunately. But I don't remember anyone ever saying like, "Oh no, we're not indigenous. We're Spaniards." No, I never heard anyone say that in my family. Usually, you on four in the pinch in morning. Yeah, not today, bro. Yeah, Indio, Puerta Rajadas, Negro, Moreno. We've heard it all. But yeah, but I don't remember my family ever really saying like if we did have any indigenous blood, they're ashamed of it or they don't want to. Nah, I've never had that. Maybe they just don't know about it, you know. Which is, we lost it. That's what it is. We lost the indigenous roots, which is why it's hard for me to just say I'm straight up indigenous because I know nothing about what it's like to be indigenous. So it wouldn't be fair for me to identify with a group of people when they have their own customs and beliefs. Even though I do descend from those people. I'm not saying I don't, you know, but that's just how I feel about it. I don't identify with fucking Spaniards either. So, but yeah, man. So what's going on, man? What's going on with everybody? How's everybody doing? You know, you ain't indigenous, fool. What are you? What are you, Adrian? James came over on the man. Now I'm not Anglo, bro. Those are Anglos that came on the Mayflower. Christian, he missed the whole live. You should have been on here, fool, because you live in Mexico. I'm not gonna break down everything I broke down. You have to go back and watch it. Now, Christian would have been interesting to see his point of view on this because he lives in Mexico from Bosnia. That fool said you ain't indigenous. I'm an ancestor of indigenous people. That's the way I look at it. A descendant, you know. He's part Menonita, yeah. That fool Christian is a Menonita. If you guys know what that is. A Menonita. I never seen them when I was in Mexico, but I've never been to the parts where they're at. If anybody knows what that is, leave it in the comments. Christian, he might know what that is. I'm sure. I'm sure you heard of him. Where I did see a lot of Menonitas was in the state of Missouri. I seen a lot. It kind of sucks because the Spanish are mixed in with us. We don't want to be called European. Yeah, we talked about that, Timo. We talked about how race is viewed in Mexico and in most Spanish speaking countries. And yeah, we have European blood in us. We have indigenous blood in us. We have African blood in us. That's where the whole concept of la raza cosmica came from, meaning that we were a little bit of everything. I've talked with, but I ain't the only one who felt the loud ass earthquake 6 in the morning. I heard about it. I didn't feel it out here. There's hella Menonitas in Durango. Yeah, I know. They're in Durango, in Chihuahua, in Zacatecas, in Coahuila. There's also a lot of them in the south, in Quintana Roo, in Campeche, Yucatan, Belize too. I think they're even in Guatemala. Those fools are deep, bro. Because they have hella kids. They don't believe in contraception or nothing like that. So they be having like 1,000 kids. North Pacific. Yeah, I didn't feel the earthquake the other night. I heard about it. I was on a live once when an earthquake hit. Remember that? Pacific was about to get the whole beach on himself. Yeah, man. But yeah, so what's up, man? Yeah, I didn't feel the earthquake the other night. I felt that freaking hurricane we had the other night. That was the other day. That was crazy. Who felt that when about a week ago when that big storm hit the Bay Area? That shit felt like a hurricane, man. I couldn't even walk. The wind was pushing me like I want to fall down. That was crazy, bro. Hella trees falling everywhere. Lights were out everywhere. It was crazy. That was a crazy day. I'm talking about the one, you know, windows fell from buildings in San Francisco. Yeah, I've been on all your lives for 2 years. Orale. Oh, yeah, yeah, you have been. All right, good night. Good night, Sebastian. They wanted to see that race and the good stuff I deal with all the time at work with applicants. I stayed my skinny ass aside. I ain't trying to get blown back to Mexico. Yeah, that day was crazy, bro. When the little hurricane hit, it was a cyclone supposedly. It was bad, bro. It was bad. I went outside, man. That it felt like a hurricane, bro. I couldn't even stand. I was like, oh shit. I didn't know the wind was so bad. I walked outside. It felt like I wanted to fall down, fool. Yeah, for reals. You know. But yeah, man. That's who he wants. He wants it from her, huh? No, no, that day was scary, bro. I almost crashed into hella trees that day. There were hella fucking broken trees everywhere, bro. Everywhere. I swear, I must have seen like 10 broken, knocked down trees that day, bro. Almost crashed into three, bro. We're done for that weather system wasn't normal. Yeah, that was weird, bro. It felt like they said it was a cyclone, which a cyclone is kind of like a hurricane. You know what's crazy? My electricity never went out through that. That was dope. A lot of people's electricity went out through that. We must have powerful telephone poles because yeah, we didn't get no power outages, but a lot of neighborhoods around us got had power outages that day. That was a crazy day, brother. We ethnic groups within a race. It's true. We're a lot of things. I lost power for 8 hours. Yeah, that's weird, Timo. We didn't lose power here. I thought we were gonna lose power because the wind was horrible. Like the wires in the telephone poles were going everywhere, bro. So I thought for sure the power was gonna go out, but nah, they didn't. But thank God. Yeah, the semi on the Bay Bridge up. Yeah, man, it was bad, bro. Bro, I'm telling you, Cepeda, there was down trees everywhere blocking the roads, bro, all over the place that night, that day. Do Mexicans could claim Takashi? Some probably do. I don't know. I didn't even know who. I thought he was Puerto Rican the first time I seen him. Now I found out he's half Puerto Rican and Mexican, I guess. But yeah, man. But what's his race though? That's the question. He may be half Puerto Rican and Mexican, even though he was born in New York. But what's his race? Takashi Sackboy doesn't claim the PR side because his dad left him. Yeah, he got beat up. His race is Skittles. He's half doormat. Oh yeah, he was wearing Daisy Dukes. That's crazy. That fool just got beat. What was he doing randomly at some gym? Like at a 24-hour. He was a what at a Planet Fitness or something like that. Like some hood ass gym. That fool's hella stupid. Yeah, Takashi. I think Takashi is a Japanese name. That's probably not his real name. I honestly don't know much about that dude. I thought it was a female at first. Yeah, he got beat up pretty badly, I heard. LA Fitness with no, yeah, he was like at some random. I thought it was Planet Fitness, but LA Fitness. Yeah, he was slipping. He got caught slipping. They gave him the business. That one probably felt hella stupid. Well, he's like a little dude, and I think his name is David Hernandez. Yeah, I don't know much about him, bro. I couldn't even name you one of his songs, bro. I remember the first time I seen him, I said, "Who's her? Who is she?" And them dudes went looking for that. I was like, dude owns something. Maybe he owes them some money, protection money. He moving like a regular civilian, like he don't get different gangs after this. Well, he was in Florida, wasn't he? Supposedly, but didn't he rat on a bunch of people in New York? I think New York, right? That's where he's from, ain't he? He looked like ugly ass little girl getting broke. Yeah, yeah. Like I said, I don't know much about the dude, man. Never. I couldn't even name you one of his songs, bro. If I heard a song on his in the radio, I wouldn't even know it's him, bro. I said I know nothing about him. I just know he's some funny looking dude. What do you do besides YouTube? I play music and I do DoorDash and I do little side hustles here and there. And YouTube. Where are you from, Bobby? You from the town? Took the beat down like he stripped aside. I rate restaurants. He's from Bushwick, Brooklyn. He probably knows one Mexican New York fool you interviewed. Oh, you're talking about King Mexico? Maybe. Part-time pimp. Yeah, I'm not gonna be able to eat a lot of fatty foods. I'm gonna probably start cutting down a lot of foods. I gotta lose some weight. You know the spots, yeah. It's because I'm fat, unfortunately. When you're fat, you know the good places. I raid restaurants. What does raid mean? You mean raid? RAID, right? I got an OnlyFans. I got plenty of fish. I'm an Oakland girl. What I live? Are you from where the Doves, the 30s? I'm an OnlyFans. I got Tinder. I got all that. I'm playing. Born and raised. What part of Oakland? But yeah, man. What's up, Christian? Cristiano? What's going on, bro? What you doing? Hey, Christian, are you indigenous? What are you? What's your race? Don't say Mexican either. What's your race? You're from the stupid 40s? Orale. That's where Shortcut's from. You should interview restaurants on Patreon. Patreon? What the hell's Patreon? Patreon ain't got a page? I don't know what that is, bro. She's from the 40s. Said YouTube, I'm the heavyweight champion of the world. What's up, Richard? Richard, you barely getting on? You missed the whole discussion. Oh, Patreon. Okay, yeah. I know. I never had a Patreon, bro. I should create one, I could sell my soul. I'm playing. But yeah, man. Stupid 40s. What's up, Martin? You're getting on here too, barely. You guys missed the discussion, man. You guys are late. Hey, Martin, can I ask you a question? What race are you? And don't say you can't say Mexican. What race are you? Because that's what the discussion was about. Let me know. That fool said Purepecha. Are you full blooded? Do you speak Purepecha language? Have you done a DNA test, son? Man, Christian, that fool straight Espanol. That fool straight European. Swap here in South Oakland. My grandpa's full Purepecha. Well, I believe it. I'm not saying you're not, but what is the rest of you? See? Estás más blanco que yo, güey. 100% Tarasco, that's Purepecha. Hey, but you got facial hair. All you fools got facial hair. If you guys were full-blooded native, you wouldn't have facial hair. Race matters, though, if you see it in Terrence since the beginning of time, but nobody knows what ethnicity we feel connected. Not on no woke tip. Carrasco is the new era calls it, but it's original Purepecha. Yeah, I know. Trust me, I know. You're talking to the choir, son. No shit. I know that already, Christian. I seen a Navajo motherfucker Duck Dynasty has beer. You speak some? That's dope. I wish I knew how to speak a little bit. I know how to speak a little bit of Maya, even though I'm not Mayan. I know Bishabel, which means hello. My grandfather's full Purepecha. You don't look it, son. I dress like a Tejano. What's Purepecha? Purepecha, Fabi, is a native tribe from Michoacan. One of the biggest native tribes in Michoacan. And they didn't like the Aztecs. That's one thing, the Mexica. They didn't like them. Now, Martin, I'm Spanish too, fool. You're a freaking European. But anyway, now what we were talking about, Martin, is how in Mexico we don't view ourselves like in the U.S. as black or white. Because the U.S. everything is black and white. We don't have the concept of race in Mexico, and I broke down why that is. And you would have to go see it again because I'm not going to talk about it. I talked about for like almost an hour about it, so it's a lot of stuff to dissect. But there was a lot of nationalist movement. Obviously, Jose Vasconcelos, La Raza Cósmica, and all that stuff kind of ended a lot of the racial views of Mexico. You know what I mean? And of a lot of Latin countries. Not saying it's right, not saying it's wrong. It just is what it is, right? Coca region, from Coca region. Was that in Colombia? Puro La Piedad. That's where my mom's originally from La Piedad. The LA County birth says white. Yeah, that's some Mexicans do. It does say that white. Some are listed as mixed. Some are listed as indigenous. Yeah, that's another topic I'm going to talk about. When Mexicans in the U.S. were considered white, that's probably one you guys don't know. Oh, Chapala, that's by La Piedad. Gooch is from Baghdad. Maybe a lot of Mexicans do have uh, Arabic blood in them. There's Iraqis in Mexico. There's Lebanese too. La Piedad, Michoacan. My mom's family's from that region. They're from a place called El Rodeo, Michoacan, originally. But my mom grew up in Baja California. My daddy is from Jalosticlan. Is that Los Altos de Jalisco? Where all the European looking people are at? I'm not full blooded. Se que nota way. Yeah, I know about that, but I believe it was in the 40s when I ended with the Zoo Shooters. Um, yes, yeah, we talked about that too. We talked about Salma Hayek. We talked about Carlos Slim, who's also Lebanese. We talked about Nayib Bukele from El Salvador, who's Palestinian. We talked about Shakira, who's Palestinian, who's Lebanese as well. Capulina was Lebanese. You know, I'm Irish. We're Irish in Mexico too. Actually, you're half Joyman. Actually, güeritos and güeritas. You're colonized. I'm just messing with you. I didn't know Capolino was Lebanese. Yeah, he's Lebanese. He has a weird name. What's his real name? Hold on, I'll tell you right now. His real name was Gaspar Hanain. And it's saying here that Hanain is 11. His last name was Hanain Helu, which says he's the son of Antonio Hanain Helu, a Lebanese businessman. I think his mom might have been Mexican though, but he was half Arabic. You don't know the history of Michoacan. Come on, my goatee won me more, or more. My goatee don't grow longer than this. I know about Michoacan. I don't know the whole history, but I know a little bit about it. Sounds Hawaiian. Nah, he's Palestinian, not Palestinian, Lebanese. Um, Cantinflas, I think he was all three, bro. I think he had a little bit of African in him, a little bit of Spanish, and a little bit of indigenous in him. That's really what I think he was, bro. Now you guys might disagree with me, but look at him. Look at his face. He looks like a little bit of everything. Yeah, I don't get a lot of chest hair either. See, look, you can see my damn chest. I barely have hair on it. All I know is want to go back and visit. Me too. Take me with you. I want to go. But yeah, man. But yeah, that was basically the breakdown of race in Latin America. And why is it us as raza, we don't see race the way we see it in the US? And I'm not saying one of those, oh, I don't see color. No, I'm just talking about the way we see race is totally different. And it's true. Cantinflas like Japanese. Damn, this man Jay scans race like a scanner at Walmart. Hey, I was at Walmart earlier. I need to go back to Mexico. It's been like 10 years before my son was born. Yeah, it's been about 6 years since I've been to Mexico. 5, 6 years. So I do want to go. Been about 5 years since I've been to Colombia. And Jay was part colonizer. Yep. I was part of the caste system. Puro vaquero. Yeah, I descend from cowboys for sure. That I could tell you for sure, 100%. I descend from cowboys. That is 100% an overstatement. He was on a slave ship. Maybe one of my ancestors was. Besides that, I love drums. I love like music from the Caribbean. You already know how I am. Nah, but I like all girls, bro, of all races. Trust me, bro. Trust me. But anyway, so what's going on with everybody, man? I'm probably gonna get off soon. Want to go to Mexico? I want to go see Adrian. What's up, man? When I go to Mexico, I'm gonna hit you up, lad. Adrian. My brother lives in Costa Rica. He told me race is never an issue there. Yeah, I mean, it's like that's what I'm trying to tell you, Cepeda. It's all the Latin countries, bro. It's kind of similar. I'm going to Matamoros, Tamaulipas. I think my mom and grandpa wrote the Villistas. What part of Mexico is your family from, Beanie? Because the Villistas were more in the north. That's like Chihuahua, Coahuila, Durango. That's where more like where they were at. He was in Durango, yeah. And all those regions, like the northern regions, was where he was mostly at. He was in Chihuahua mostly, but I think he was born in Durango for sure. Puro alacran. But then my girlfriend also want to go to Guatemala. Why is your girlfriend Guatemalan? I want to go all over there. I want to go to Guatemala, El Salvador, Honduras, Nicaragua, Belize. Want to go to Veracruz, Mexico again. Oh, I didn't know that. I did not know that. Pues those viajes, that's the more the better. But yeah, man. Hey, when I'm about to get off, yeah, I want to go to El Salvador. That's where my dad's family's from. What's up, John Diesel? You missed this. Hey, John Diesel, I got a question for you. Race wise, what do you see yourself as? What race are you? Not Mexican, not Central American. What race are you? Chapala is Jalisco, fool. I know how Chapala is in Jalisco, but it's close to the border with Michoacan. It's right by La Piedad, no, that by La Barca, I think. Yeah, but what is Latino? That's what I'm saying. Are you white? Are you Spaniard? Are you indigenous? Are you African? Are you all three? That's what I mean. That's Are you Middle Eastern? Because there's Middle Eastern blood in the middle in Latin America too. Only race is the human race. Agreed. But you know how tribal we are. But my point is exactly. That's what I'm trying to say, Northbound. I know that. I've been there. Trust me. I know. But yeah, I gotta go visit my family in El Salvador though. Been a lot of years since I've been there, so definitely need to go there. And the country's cleaned up, thank God, finally, after the country's had so many goddamn problems over the years with the US, with gangs, and it always stems with the US. Whether you want to accept it or not, that is the reality. Down Caribbean and Spain. Latino is from Guatemala on down. What are you, John D? So are you Mexican or are you Central American? If you don't mind me asking. And inside Jalisco, I'm not Christian. I don't think you understand what language I'm speaking. I never said Chapala is in And I never said Chapala is in Michoacan, bro. I know it's in Jalisco. I'm saying it's right by the border with Michoacan. It's right by La Piedad. That's what I mean. Este güey. ¿Quieres que te lo diga en español? Chapala es en Jalisco, eso ya lo sé. Pero está cerca de la frontera con La Piedad, con Michoacán. Yo no dije que está en, um, en Michoacán. Yo no jamás dije eso. Órale, John D. So I didn't know you were Salvadorian. Well, I'm half Salvadorian. My family is from Cabañas. You know what I mean? What do you mean it's not? Bro, you want me to show you a map? It's not in Michoacan. I know that. It's not. It's in Jalisco. It's by La Barca. Yes, it's close to La Barca. Exactly. Exactly. You're proving my point right there. But yeah, my dad's family from El Salvador, from Cabañas, close to Honduras. Usulután is by Honduras too. No. Usulután's not by Honduras. No, I'm wrong. I know where Usulután is. I heard of it for sure. But yeah, my family from El Salvador. My mom's side of the family is from Mexico. You see, look, I got both the flags. I got the Salvadorian and the Mexican flag. You see? Pinche par de locas. Christian, I know you're in Mexico, bro, and I know I'm a gringo out here in the United States. I get it. On my birth certificate. Pupusas con los. I ate some. Okay, you're Salvadorian in Mexico. What part of Mexico is your Mexican family from? My Mexican family from Michoacan, but uh, my mom grew up in Tijuana, so I was a little disconnected from my Michoacan culture. Hold on, I'm looking at a map of Mexico right now. Let's see. So there's Lake Chapala. There's La Barca. There's La Piedad. They're right by each other, bro. I'm looking at it in the map right now. I even see my mom's town from here, Ben Jamil. That's a trip, bro. I haven't looked at this area in a long time. Irapuato. I remember hearing about that place. San Leandro is close to Oakland. No, it's not. San Leandro, South Oakland, fool. Only in America do Mexicans argue about parts of Mex. Penjamil, my mom's from close to Penjamil, bro. From a town called Rodeo, Michoacan, right by Penjamil. Yeah, yeah, Penjamil. I've been to Penjamil, bro. Yeah, that's where my mom's from, right by there. But yeah, man. What is Chirunicho by? Churit? I don't know where that's at. Where Christian at? He's in Mexico, bro. I think he's in Tierra Caliente. Watch, he's gonna get hella mad because I said that. Hubby is from Cuscatancingo. Where's that? Is that in Guatemala? He's in Guerrero, I think. By Tierra Caliente. Kind of the border with Michoacan. No, you're far from the border with Michoacan, right? It's about 2 hours away. Cuscatlan, that's El Salvador. My dad grew up. Well, my dad, all my family's from Cabañas, and my dad grew up in San Salvador. Tepisco loyo. Tepisco, este güey. I'd be all around Mex. Reconnectors. Cuscatlan, yep. Small town of San Salvador. Hector the Reconnector. Hey, did you guys know Alameda's by Oakland? Martin is from South San Leandro, South Oakland. Never heard of it. Go limp. Why are you guys making fun of going limp, bro? These fools. Man, Kristen, that fool from Alameda. Alameda is by Vallejo. Yep. It's right by Benicia. Alameda is south, yeah. I mean, technically San Leandro is south, really, but yeah, Alameda is really west when you think about it. Oakland's geography is all messed up, bro. I'm 1 hour from Lázaro Cárdenas. Did you know East Palo Alto is East Palo Alto? Yes, and they're a different county, right? Palo Alto is Santa Clara County, and East Palo Alto is San Mateo County. I think. I could be wrong, but correct me if I'm wrong. Que no se lo coman. Hey, John Diesel, but I really want to take a trip through Central America, not just El Salvador. I want to go to El Salvador, Honduras, Guatemala, Nicaragua, Belize, too. I'd like to go there. I'd like to just take a trip through the whole thing. Was that cut you dude out? Oakland back in the day? You from Alameda? Alameda's a cool little town, though. I like going there. I go there all the time. Yeah, Equa, San Mateo County, and decide to give them the headache. Yeah. Yeah. Jay Strike the Room, Too Short Time in the 90s. Yeah, right. I was like, did you ever go to Alameda Project before they tore them down? This shit was like New York. Which ones? The ones in the West End? I remember them. I'm right on the beach. Yeah, Central Alameda is too dangerous. Did you know where the Brown Berets chapter out of regular Palo Alto? Nah, I didn't know that. Alameda, I love it. That's where I want to retire. Me too. If I could buy a house, I'd buy one in Alameda, bro. If I had hella money, I'd buy a house in Alameda for real. I'm not even making that up. It'd be close to Oakland. It'd be close to the rest of it. You feel me? What I remember, bro, John D. So I remember when they had like hoods in Alameda, bro. And they had a lot of Norteños out there too back in the days. I remember them fools used to claim E7, some of them. The ones across the street from College of Alameda. Yeah. I remember those, fool. Me too. I used to trick or treat in Alameda too. Over there by Fernside and by Blanding. We used to go there all the time, bro, because we grew up over there on East 7th Street. I think I'm moving to Texas at old age. Yeah, they did have a lot of Norteños in Alameda. Yeah, I remember that, fool. I remember meeting some out there back in the days. And I remember, bro. I remember when Alameda had little hoods, bro. For sure. Way back in the days. Kids bringing it back. Campo Ramos in Hayward. Yeah. I was watching the homie hangout the other day. He was talking about the hood in Newark. I was like, Newark got it good. The only hood I ever heard about in Newark was the West End. That was the only hood I ever heard about. Famous Daniel from Alameda who used to hang out on East 7th. Which one? I probably heard of them. There was a couple of them. I know like two or three East 7 dudes from Alameda. They're cool. San Leandro Norteños. One fool they call him Dope. Who are the other two dudes I met? I met like two other dudes, bro. I met one a long time ago. And they called him Scrappy, but I met him briefly through my brother, and then I met another one, but I can't remember the name. It's been so long. hella weak. And went from Newark goes some hoods again. East is out their way. West End, like Jose, yeah, the West End. Yeah, I met that dude Scrappy through my brother a long time ago. I don't know Dopey. And Dope. Dope, I mean Dope. Yeah, yeah, Dope. Yeah, I know Dope. I know him. I don't know him real well, but he knows me, bro. If he sees me, he'll be like, "What's up, bro?" West Side Alameda. West Side Alameda, I remember that's where the flea market used to be. Yeah. I'm gonna be real. When you're raised in Oakland, all the other hood really ain't no hoods. You're right. You're kind of right. Or if you're raised in Richmond or in any other the real hood cities like Vallejo, Richmond, or EPA, or Frisco, like the Frisco hood, you look at everything else as different. What's up, King PJ? Yeah, because I remember when I moved to Sacramento. Sacramento's a lot more hood now than when I lived there. I remember when I moved to Sacramento, people used to be like, "Oh, this area is hella hood, it's hella ghetto, and it used to be hella nice." I'm like, "Wow, this is nice." It's not compared to where I'm from. San Jose too. Like when I go to San Jose, we'd be on the east side, and people would be like, "Oh, this is the hood, this is the barrio," um, and I would be like, "Wow, it's nice around here." Shit, I wish Oakland looked like that. But you gotta remember, real John D. So I lived in Sacramento. This was 30 years ago, bro. So it's changed a lot. The area where I actually used to live, I go there now, and it's ghetto as fuck. Open, you're tucked, and no hood is harder than the town. Yeah, that's true. Man, San Jose, just walking the playground. I'm not making fun of San Jose or any city. I'm just saying, like, I would go out there, and people be like, "Oh, this is the hood, bro. You gotta be careful around here." And I'm not saying there weren't down ass fools out there. I'm not saying there weren't down ass fools out there, but it just the city didn't look what I in my mind register as hood, like when I'm in the deep or when I'm in West Oakland or something like that, or in the lower bottoms. I live closer to the Diamonds hood, fool for the diamonds. I remember the Frank loans. Yeah, Sureños too, bro. I was cool with a couple of upstate Sureños at my school too. I knew a little bit of everybody, bro. And I still staying Dag. That's Oakland Airport. I know where Dag is, fool. That's over there by Brookfield and Columbian Gardens. They tried to get me to beat up his bully when I went to Sac, even Frisco or whatever other city. When you from Oakland, you want to box everyone. Get Oakland's beautiful. 47th Street. What's up, RV Nessie? How you doing, bro? Oh yeah, I remember hearing about 47th Street, but I think the dudes, I don't know where they were from, the ones at my school. But the school I went to in Sacramento, there was a lot of dudes from Frank Loan, a lot of dudes from Diamonds. That was mostly the biggest hood there. Whenever I heard about hoods in Fremont, New York, I thought dream, move to the worst part of the city and raise a family. Oakland is beautiful. I agree with you. It's the YouTube voice of the Rasa in the chat. I tell people that all the time, real Chunk D. So Oakland has some fucking beautiful places, bro. It really does. Oakland's one of the only cities with a lake in town, inside the town, Piedmont. Yep. I mean, we got Lake Merritt, we got Jack London Square, we got the Oakland Hills. You know what I mean? North Oakland looks nice now. You feel me? Yep, the estuary. Exactly. I grew up right next to the estuary. Nah, Sacramento's active, bro. I'll give Sacramento that. It's active out there for sure. They got Indian gangs in Santa Clara. You're right, Beanie. But in the Bay around my time, we taught always a box stand out. Other city. Yeah, that's true, Christian. It really was like that back in the days. And everyone always wanted to hate on Oakland, bro. If you went to any city and you told them you was from Oakland, it was the hatred was coming. Sac is overgrown, Antioch. Sac is ugly. Yeah, Sacramento got its nice parts, but I didn't like it that much to live there. You feel me? It's cool though. I got a lot of family out there. Brother 40s was live. The whole damn yay is beautiful. That's true. Lucrative. When I moved to Sacramento and I came back to the Bay, I was like, man, I'm glad I'm back in the Bay Area because Sacramento's just flat. Like Sacramento, the Bay is got hills, it got water, it got beautiful views. I learned to really appreciate where I live, bro. When I came back from Sacramento, 40, who runs a 40 ounce what of Old English 800. Westside Berkeley was the hood all the way up into the early 2000s, bro. It was hood. Fresno makes look exact like Fresno. Now, I was glad I was back home. San Diego. San Diego was kind of nice, though, ain't it? I never spent enough time in San Diego, though. Town business. Yeah, but I lived in Sacramento. 40 ounce. I don't remember for who. Hey, shortcuts. You remember 40 ounce gang? New York. Boring. I'm down. I'm be down the next month. Take me with you, fool. I want to go to TJ with you. Shit, I want to go. Have that weird homey feel. Yeah, I mean, it feels like home to me. It is my home. San Diego's one of the nicest cities in the state. Yeah, there was a 40 ounce gang. But yeah, man. Hey, RV Nessie, you missed a pretty good discussion earlier, bro. We were talking about the discussion on race in Latin America. It was interesting. If you get a chance, rewind it and watch this live. It was interesting stuff. North Daniel 40, I don't remember them, fool. They're racist fuck, though. They hated on folks from Oakland. I believe it. 40 ounce. Were they from the 40s? Oakland looks like set a zombie apocalypse movie. Oakland like Oakland on the Mac. Six pack posse. I remember. Hey, real John Diesel. You remember Bart Station Locals? Supposedly some fools were claiming the fruit belt Bart for a minute. Yeah, 40th and East 14th. I don't remember them, fool. Maybe that was when I was in Sacramento. We out here, TJ. I heard TJ has all our missing upstate Sudanos. Probably Oakland has been good. At least I ain't in Flint, Michigan. You'd be speaking German. Give me some agua de arroz. We'd be speaking Deutsch. I remember 41st Cycles. That's what I remember. Like when the dudes used to kick it right there on 41st and Foothill back in the days. I don't remember 40 ounce still. In November, I'm gonna be in Colombia in the summertime, hopefully. Okay. Carne asada fries. 41st probably the oldest roster going on with the 60s. Yeah, I remember the 41st dudes. They were still around like in the mid 90s. There were still some of them around like early and mid 90s. I remember I used to see them hanging out on Foothill right there by the liquor store. No other city cooks like spots in Oakland. And the taco trucks in Oakland are the best. People get mad when I say that, uh, but they're the best. Yeah, East 15th is old too. They go back to the Pachuco era. A lot of people don't know that either. To the 23rd Ave gang. That's from the 1940s and 50s. Jingletown is old too. They've been around since back in like the Zoot Suit days. Smoking hella weed. How you been, RV Nessie? Everything good, bro? Quince? You don't know what Quince is? Quince is 15th, like Quince. I actually met a couple of old dudes who remembered like the Pachucos and all that stuff. They told me the stories of the Hondos and all that. If you know that story, that's like before, that's back in the 50s and 40s. The best taco truck in LA and the best in Oakland that on 29th Ave. Yeah, the one on 29th is my favorite, bro. Mi Riense, that's my favorite right there on 29th. Yeah, the Hondos. That was during the Pachuco era in Oakland. There was the Hondos, Zoo Shooters. Yeah, that's what what's his name told me. Juan Espinosa. He said it was the white boys were the surfer boys, the blacks were called Bloods, and the Chicanos were the Hondos. It's funny when out of towners speak on Oakland, they only know 38. I guess them fools were locked up. The Momos. That sounds hella familiar. They probably had greasers. I'm sure they did for sure. I mean, the Hell's Angels started in Oakland. Juan Espinosa's dead, bro. He died last year. Yeah, they do got a lot of Tijuana style taco places. Momo's from 23rd. I think I remember that, bro. You remember Miko's on 23rd? Oh, you want to try Nopales? Well, I know where you can get huaraches, bro, in Oakland. If you want to go, let me know. I know a place where you can get huaraches in Oakland. You don't like Nopales shortcuts? I like them. Depends who makes them. Yeah, there was a body shop when they had Miko's arcade too in the Doves. What's up, bro? there goes Masatal. What's up, fool? I haven't heard from you in a long time since you ghosted me. Called mulitas. You're starting to see those out here now, bro. Vampiros and mulitas. I'm seeing that now. Well, I mean, Nopales, it depends who makes them, bro. It depends who makes them. KMT, I remember KMT. KOD, KMT, UNC, SKs. I bet you John Diesel probably remembers that too. Yeah, I remember OTCs, UNTs. What about All Brothers Together, ABT? You couldn't pay me to eat nopal. You don't like nopales? Am I doing a tribute to Juan Espinosa? That'd be nice. I'm not gonna do it by myself. ABT, All Brothers Together. I remember them. All right, so I have been on here for hella long. I'm about to get off. ABT had like 10. Yeah, they're old school. Did you know Juan Espinosa? John Diesel, I was real good friends with him. I actually did an interview with him. You could look it up. Look up Oakland Latinos United Juan Espinosa interview. You should be able to find it. I think I remember that. I don't know if any of his family lived on East 7th, but I know he grew up around West Oakland and the 6-9 Ville too. Oh yeah, I'm organizing an art gallery. Oh yeah, let me know, bro. I'm probably gonna be busy on Cinco de Mayo, but let me know. Yeah, JT used to funk with everybody. They didn't like anybody back in the days. Jingletown, they used to funk with East 7th Street. Yeah, he was he did work for the Alameda County, so he probably you probably do know him then. He was a counselor. Yeah, but he passed away, bro. Big John, before they got the restaurant 38. I think I do remember that, bro. So much shit, bro, and I'm getting old, bro. Some things are coming and going, and the older I get. Which one in Funktown? Are you talking about La Altamar? That should be on May 7th with the parade and everything. But yeah, they gave us a section of separate. Oh, that's tight, bro. Orale. Yeah, he was like a counselor, bro. So yeah, that probably is him. Probably the same dude. The only Marisco place in Funktown I remember was El Altamar. It was on like 11th or 12th and East 12th Ave. No, not La Costa Azul. It was it was called the one I remember was Altamar. It was down the street on the other side of where Tijuana was. That I'm not sure. Gato Negro. I'm not really a big sushi person. Sorry, buddy. Dario Hunter. I probably met him, bro. I remember Centro de Juventud. I went there hella times when I was young. Yeah, that's him. Wow, he died. I just seen him on your video. Yeah, he died last year, bro. He was in really bad health, bro. Unfortunately. Yeah, OG from the town, bro. Yeah, that's true. He was the founder of the Chicano Revolutionary Party. Nah, you don't have to go to Piedmont. You could probably find it in Oakland for sure. There's hella Asian restaurants in Oakland. I got love for the town because they put me on the top. I can't stop, won't stop. Goldie. Whatever happened to Goldie? CRP, the legacy continues. Yep, the Chicano Revolutionary Party, Brown Berets, all that stuff from back in the days in Oakland, the Black Panthers too. Yeah, but hey, y'all, I'm about to get off. I really am tired, and shit, I've been on here for like 2 hours already. Oh, okay, yeah, but yeah, man. If you guys gonna see my discussion on race in Latin America, which is what this whole thing was about, this whole this whole live was originally this whole live was supposed to be about. Go back and watch it. Leave a comment. Tell me what you think. Did Oakland have a Mexican New Year? Like they probably did. They had one in San Francisco. I know. I was a little bit out of the loop this year, but yeah, man, go back and watch that. Uh, oh, spam musubi. You can probably get it at one of the Hawaiian places. You know what? There's a Hawaiian place on High Street in East 14th. It might have it. I forget the name of it, but it's right there. There's a Hawaiian place like Jingletown too on East Ninth in the shopping center. But yeah, Chris, in Chalapa is in Jalisco. It's not in Michoacan. All right, are you happy? Clínica La Raza. We're whatever we want to be, bro. We could be Latinos. We could be indigenous. We could be black. We could be Spaniards, I guess. We could be whatever, I guess. Middle Eastern, like Nayib Bukele, you know. That too. We could be Americans too. That was my point on this video, RB Ness. You got to go back and watch it for you could see what my points were. I don't know if you were watching it from the beginning. I choose to be a white guy from Toledo, Ohio. So that's what I am, okay? Just leave it at that. Mexicans are natives of the Americas. We're the brown race. Yeah, we talked about all that, RB Nessie. Yeah, go to L&L Barbecue, Gato Negro. You can probably find it in Hayward too. All right, y'all, I'm gonna get off. I gotta get off for real. It's kind of late. Not late, but I'm gonna go to sleep. And I've been on here for 2 hours. Everybody got Negro, RB Nessie, Lucrative Sounds, Shortcuts, uh, Christian Cruz, John Diesel, you know, Masatal, the homegirl that was on here earlier. What was your name again? I'm sorry. Sorry. Um, Everybody that was on here, you know what I mean? Thank you guys for coming on. Oh, Fabi, thank you guys for coming on. And you know, if you missed today's discussion, just go back and watch it. And Sneaky Beanie out there in Detroit City, 7313. You feel me? Southwest Detroit, Motor City, the real Motor City. But yeah, man, I'm gonna talk to you guys later. Go back and watch that discussion I had about race in Mexico and Latin America, and where do we stand in it here in the United States. And just go and watch it. Even RB Nessie, go back and watch it, and you'll get a better understanding of what I was talking about. All right, y'all. You can be a girl today. Yeah, in this day and age, I can be whatever the hell I want to be. Nowadays, you can identify anything. I want to identify as a dolphin. You feel me? But hey, y'all, I'm getting off. You guys be safe. Till the next time. Like.